The Family Self-Sufficiency Program, the Montgomery County Office of Cable and Broadband Services, the National Museum of Health and Medicine. Learn about these organizations on the next episode of Did You Know? Montgomery County, Maryland has many services, programs, and places for learning. In today's episode of Did You Know, we'll look at three distinct ones. We'll begin with the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, which just celebrated its 20th anniversary. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program is part of the Housing Opportunities Commission. A federally mandated program, it helps families in public and Section 8 housing to achieve self-sufficiency and to end dependency on welfare assistance.
It's really simple. Our job is to connect people responsibly to a place to live. And we do that in a variety of different ways. We do it sometimes with a unit itself and other times with assistance or support. So there's some programmatic support that goes into it. FSS is unique, I think, the world over because it takes it a few steps further.
The Family Self-Sufficiency Program was approved by Congress in 1990. We began our program in '93, and so this is our 20th anniversary. And we're very happy about that. And it is a welfare to work kind of program. So what we do is we have people who are in subsidized housing. They have to mostly be single parents. And they come to us voluntarily to get help. All they have to do is let us know that they're interested. And then we will be sure that they're eligible. They have to be in either public housing or the Section 8 voucher program. Here they are coming into FSS saying, I need more. I want to do more, but I don't know how I can do it. I need your help. And that's what we do.
I was already a HOC participant, had received a flyer in the mail, talk about this program, FSS. I work very closely with my counselor, Miss Whitfield. I love her to death. She was wonderful. Making sure that I had everything that I need, staying in contact with me.
And hopefully, as with the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, when they enroll voluntarily, they're doing that because they're motivated to get help.
For me, I was already self-driven. She didn't have to do a lot with me, but just the point in the fact that we would meet for lunch, we would talk about, where I was in my program, where I was in my goals.
And so we are able to move them forward, move them up, and really help them to do better financially.
And we recognize that communities consist of people, and everybody has a story.
My three goals for the program was to clean up my credit, enroll in a graduate course, and to purchase my home.
Which you did.
Which I did.
I was interested in becoming more financially independent and gaining stable employment.
The case managers are there to help them with the resources, but also to help them not to give up. Because here they are struggling to survive, barely making any money at all.
I had a lot of struggles. A lot of people in the program are single parents, and you have a lot of challenges, working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to go to school and get your education if you don't have it.
The case manager's focus is to help them to hope, to believe in themselves.
The most important thing is that we don't do it for them. We help empower them to do it.
I don't know, maybe the job wasn't enough to make her income go up.
I'm a family self-sufficiency case manager. And what it means is that I have a caseload of families that I'm responsible for. So as a case manager, when we first meet them, we design like a contract, and it's a 5-year contract. We're offering to them It's our job as case managers to just set up the meeting. You know, you've tried it your way, why not try it our way? And we basically, as case managers, we meet clients where they are and we discuss where they'd like to be in 5 years as it relates to employment, education, and those kind of things, career. And we basically match clients up with community resources. In many cases, we're cheerleaders, supporters, encouragers.
She just gave me lots of, words of encouragement and came by and saw the kids and made sure they were okay.
And being able to meet with my counselor once a month and talk about my goals.
My short-term goals, my long-term goals, and they changed every 6 months.
Well, she stayed on me to make sure I was working toward my goals, so that really helped me every month meeting with her.
With the case managers always pushing that, because sometimes you push that aside and you procrastinate, but when you're forced to actually look at it and write about it and think about it, it helps you learn who you really are.
I've been volunteering for about 5 years now, and I've had 3 different participants in the program.
Culinary school, I'm so happy for you.
And each of them have had their own goals that they've needed to work on to achieve self-sufficiency. Sometimes self-sufficiency means becoming a citizen. I've helped moms to work towards getting their bachelor's degree. I've helped them to find jobs, even working with their children to be more active in their children's education in school.
I'm a volunteer tutor, and I guess my specialty is math. And I typically work with adults that are trying to get a GED degree or people that are taking college classes. So I see my job as first help them pass the class, because I know math is not their primary interest. When I hear that somebody passed their math class, wow, that's wonderful. And then the final, if they can graduate the program, and I was one little part of that, I think those are the rewards.
It's just, participating, volunteering in the community. I think everybody should do what they can to make a positive contribution to society.
And that's really what FSS does. It provides the possibilities that take a family beyond just stabilization, and often give them that hope, that window of light that you wouldn't ordinarily see just in the process of connecting someone to a place to live.
We have had over 800 graduates, and of those, 16% have bought homes at the time of graduation.
This is the first time I have seen your house. I'm so happy that you finally got to see it.
I know, it is beautiful.
Thank you. They said, we have a house. So this is my foyer, and I heard 4-bedroom Clarksburg garage. This is my living room, and I was like, I'll take it, and I never even saw it at first. I feel like it's my home now.
Absolutely. It's yours. You paid for it.
Yes.
You are paying for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Housing is such a very basic human need, and especially when children are involved.
I have 3 beautiful children. I have a son who's 20 and a daughter named Ayana, and little Miss Gabriella, she runs the house.
This is my daughter Tajane. I have 2 other daughters.
Well, this is my room.
Yeah. Wow, you have your own place.
I like it a lot more than the apartment. The apartment was really cramped up, and especially as me and my sisters as growing teenagers, it was really it got really small in the apartment. So when my mom told me that we were moving, I was really excited because I was like, yes, I get to have my own room. We got to move closer to the schools that we were going to.
We actually live walking distance to the Rocky Hill Middle School and Clarksburg High School, so that was ideal as a single mother for them to be involved in after-school activities, so they can walk to school or they can come home from school.
being able to purchase my own home, you know, that's a great lineage to leave to my children. Having their own home gives them roots and foundation to say, hey, this is where I grew up with, you know, the sense of stability, knowing that if things don't work out there, I always have a place to come back to call home. So those are the things that I've learned in FSS that I can pass along to my children.
Across the board of our graduates, we more than double their earnings. And also they have a wonderful savings account.
This is my kitchen.
And the average escrow savings of our graduates is over $10,000. So that helps them. Can you kind of explain how your escrow savings accrued in FSS? What did you have to do to have some wonderful savings that helped you buy the home?
5 years of growth and changing jobs and getting better jobs and better pay. More of the money that I was paying towards the rent of HOC, more of it was going into escrow. Well, everybody has a turtle and a frog in their garden. So at the end of 5 years, I actually had a good sustainable amount to help me with the closing costs and buying the house and furnishing the house. And it was just an amazing transition, and it made it so much easier.
Well, when I first entered the FSS program, I was an unemployed single parent. I didn't have many job skills. Since I've been in the program, I was able to maintain employment with a government agency.
And when they achieve one goal, sometimes we set more goals for them.
I'm now taking part-time classes at UMUC
to even make them stronger and more self-sufficient.
I just want people to know the opportunities that Montgomery County has for the people that are motivated, that want to get motivated. I want people to know about the resources that Montgomery County has, and FSS is definitely one of those things that can make it easier, that links you to all your questions. You get a bunch of resources. I would have never known any of this if it hadn't been for FSS, actually, because they connected me to these resources, and I had a great support system. Nancy, my caseworkers, and it just felt like a sense of community.
Talking to my counselor, she gave me the resources to be able to accomplish my goals. So that was something that I didn't think I was able to do, and it was a good accomplishment, a big accomplishment of mine.
And you're not just helping somebody today, you're helping generations to come.
The children, the grandchildren, and even the nieces, nephews, and so forth. And so it's the seed. It really is.
For more information about the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, please call 240-627-9781 or go to hocmc.org. The Office of Cable and Broadband Services provides the residents of Montgomery County with many options. It's part of the Department of Technology Services and is located at 100 Maryland Avenue in Rockville.
We can go ahead and process those. There's about 250,000 cable customers in Montgomery County that are serviced by either Comcast, RCN, or Verizon. Many have both cable and internet services, and now with the bundling, some also have telephone as well. The Office of Cable and Broadband Services, we oversee the cable piece of that. The state agency oversees the phone piece, and the internet is regulated by the FCC. The Office of Cable and Broadband Services offers consumers the opportunity to file complaints if they're having trouble with their cable or their broadband services. They can call the office, or they can call 311 here in Montgomery County to file complaints concerning their service, billing, if there's construction issues. We oversee the franchises for Comcast, RCN, and Verizon. So if you're having problems with any of those three providers, we have a team here who will help you resolve those complaints.
So go ahead and tell me what your complaint is with your cable provider.
Well, my name is Keith Watkins. I work for the Office of Cable and Broadband Services, and I specifically handle all of the complaints that involve the 3 franchised cable TV providers. Typically, the complaints that we receive are billing complaints. The subscriber has a billing issue, whether it's with a promotional offering or a bill that didn't get posted. A lot of times we do handle issues involving cable wiring, downed cable wiring, low hanging cable wire, above ground cable wire that needs to be buried, trip hazards, things like that.
My name is Otis Matthews. I work for the Montgomery County Cable Office. My responsibilities is an inspector, and we go out and we inspect the different cable companies, their work crews and things that come out. They do aerial work, underground work. If it's underground, we make sure that things are being done properly, that things are being buried properly. If it's aerial, we try to make sure that it's done right. And we're here for basically your public safety.
On average, we handle somewhere in the neighborhood of about 100 to 120 complaints a month. So it runs between 1,500 to 1,800 a year. When someone contacts our office, depending on the nature of the complaint, it's resolved anywhere from 2 to 5 days. If it's something that involves more technical, not more of a technical aspect, it may take longer. Sometimes there's trouble with internet connectivity or television reception. They may take a little bit longer. Billing issues usually get squared away within a few days. If it's an issue involving a cable line, a cable wire that needs to be buried, that could take several weeks to get that accomplished.
Let's say you see a tree and there are wires hanging off the pole down through the trees. Montgomery County has a couple of ways. The easiest way is to dial 311. You give them the address where you see the wires at. If it's not in front of your home, it doesn't matter. The street that it's on, the house number. 311 will take that and pass that information on to our senior investigator, Keith Watkins, who then will take that information and pass it on to myself or the other inspector, Brian Forney, in the office. And we'll come out, we'll take the pictures, we'll do the report, and you don't even have to leave your name. If you think it's an electrical wire, first, please stay away from it. Second, you want to dial 911 because this is even more serious. Even though the power might be cut off, you're not sure, you dial 911, you want to talk to the police, you want to get somebody with authority over there that can block off traffic, and you just get away from it. But if it looks like it's just a wire where maybe they're building a new home and they've broken the wires loose, or somebody has gone from a Comcast drop to a Verizon drop where they have a tendency just to break the stuff loose and let it hang, dial 311. They will pass the information on to us, and then we take it on from there.
One thing people might not know is that if your cable service is out for more than 24 hours, you're entitled to a credit on your next month's bill.
The cable office negotiates the franchises and the payments to the county. We also do negotiate on behalf of the public education and government channels. We have 13 in the county, and that would be County Cable Montgomery here. We have Montgomery County Public Schools. We have the college, Montgomery College, and then we have Montgomery Community Media. Those are the 4 big ones. In addition, we have municipal channels, which are the City of Tacoma Park, the City of Rockville, and Montgomery Municipal League Channel, those 3 as well. The cable office also oversees the placement of antennas and towers in Montgomery County. There is a transmission facilities coordinating group that basically our job is when applications are received from the providers, telecommunications providers, those applications are reviewed by engineers to make sure there is a need in the county. And once they are reviewed, they come before this transmission facilities coordinating group, and then we review the applications, and then if they're approved, then they go to the next step in the process. One of the things that we do work with the telecommunications providers to do is to camouflage some of the sites that are out in the communities. They can be camouflaged as flagpoles that you might see at fire stations throughout the county. They could be camouflaged as light poles that you could see at high schools. In addition, there's tree towers. Along the ICC, there's a very nice one. There are bell towers in as well. One of the great things that we are doing in the county is providing a fiber network to most of our government institutions, so the schools, the college, the government facilities. Back in 2010, the county received a grant, and during that period we were able to build fiber to 108 of the schools in the county, in addition to some housing opportunities, commissions, facilities as well. And that allows us to bring some of the broadband and some of the advantages of having high-speed internet to these facilities.
To contact the cable office, please call 311. For more information about cable and broadband services, go to montgomerycountymd.gov/cable. The National Museum of Health and Medicine moved from Washington, D.C. to Montgomery County in September 2011 and reopened in May 2012. Located on Linden Lane in Silver Spring, it welcomes more than 40,000 visitors each year.
We are at the National Museum of Health and Medicine in Silver Spring, Maryland. We were founded in 1862 as the Army Medical Museum. We are the National Medical Museum, and we are especially interested in the history of medicine, but really focused on the history of American military medicine. The museum was founded as the Army Medical Museum in 1862, so near the start of the Civil War. And the mission then was, as they even put in the original general order, was to collect specimens of morbid anatomy and send them to Washington for care and study to improve the care of the soldier. And the idea then, as it is now, was to use the museum's collections to understand the nature of battlefield medicine and trauma, and to teach the next generation of physicians and surgeons on how to better care for the active duty service member. Today our mission is much broader and includes medicine in a wider variety of areas, but we are especially interested in sharing with the public the value of military medicine, why it's important to the military, but why military medicine is also important to the nation. Programming at the museum really covers a wide variety of areas. We have something really for everybody. We offer a monthly medical museum science cafe, which is a really informal and often very fun lecture series. It's free, and it's usually the last Tuesday of any month, and it covers a really interesting set of topics. We do a great program that's focused on middle schoolers and the brain. That comes up in the spring when they generally were interested in traumatic brain injury, and we spend a week talking specifically about the brain. And so middle schools send their students to visit us for a few hours, and the students get a chance to hold a brain and talk to researchers and spend a couple of hours only on that one topic.
I do honestly kind of like skeletons in a way.
I have a child who's very interested in anatomy.
Do you want to be a scientist or a doctor when you get older?
Well, sort of.
I thought that the interactive display was very engaging for children, and I thought some of the cross sections of the brain and the information about the human brain was interesting.
Interested in like what makes people sick and doesn't make them die, and what makes people sick and makes them die.
In a medical museum, you can see the effects of certain things on the body, like what happens when you do smoke, or what happens when you do have head trauma.
So let's take a look around and show you a few things that you'll see when you visit us here at the museum. This is a painting that shows the Forest Glen Annex as it was in World War II, and you'll see patients recovering and recuperating from injuries that they experienced overseas, fighting in Europe or Africa or the Pacific. And Forest Glen was unique. It actually had its own band as part of the installation here. This just happens, this is a scene right across from where we are here at the new museum. So here we can take a look at our exhibit on Civil War medicine. And we collected many, many anatomical specimens during the course of the Civil War, but we also collected the thing that caused the injury. So a visitor here today can actually see exhibits that include the bullets and fragments that caused so many injuries. We also contrast that with a breastplate of a Confederate soldier who fought at Gettysburg, and you can actually see very clearly that that breastplate did not protect that soldier. You can see the bullet hole that passed right through that iron breastplate on the battlefield at Gettysburg, injuring and killing that soldier 150 years ago this year. So you see here the amputated right leg of Major General Dan Sickles, who was injured on the battlefield at Gettysburg on the second day of the battle in 1863. And Sickles had his leg struck by a cannonball, and it required his amputation. And you see here the result of that traumatic injury. But Sickles knew that his leg would be preserved for all time if he made sure that it was sent to the Army Medical Museum of the day, and sent it forward on his own instructions with a note: compliments Major General DES. And here it is 150 years later. Sickles himself visited the leg in the years after it was amputated. He would visit it on the anniversary of the injury itself. He would visit the museum. Another iconic object on display here at the Medical Museum are artifacts and specimens related to the assassination of President Lincoln in April of 1865, including the actual bullet that killed Lincoln, shot by John Wilkes Booth, and that was recovered at the autopsy on the morning of April 15th, the day that Lincoln actually died. The bullet was used as evidence at the trial of the conspirators. And a tool, the Neelaton probe mounted there, was held by the Surgeon General and threaded into the site of the wound itself. And the idea was to try to locate how far into the injury, in this case Lincoln, the bullet would have been, and would have, if it had worked, it would have revealed that the bullet was lodged behind Lincoln's left eye. The surgeons in the room caring for Lincoln knew that the wound was mortal and that he was going to pass, but that probe helped to identify that that wound was going to kill the president. The fabric, that brown fabric that's directly in front of the probe, is actually a shirt cuff worn by the assistant surgeon on the staff of the Army Medical Museum, Dr. Curtis, Edward Curtis, who assisted in the autopsy of Lincoln that morning, the morning of April 15th. And the bloods, those stains are blood stains. Those are Lincoln's blood stains. The visitor actually can get a chance to also see some skull fragments recovered from the site of the wound, sort of lower left back part of Lincoln's skull. The autopsy was a very well described professional procedure. There are copious notes taken by all of the participants involved, and you really get a sense of the professionalism and integrity of those that were at Lincoln's bedside in the hours before he passed, and then at his side as they were preparing his remains and determining the precise cause of death. So this floor that we have on display here, really the largest artifact on display, came to us from an Air Force hospital that had been in service from 2003 to 2007. This floor became known as the place where the most American lives were saved or lost since Vietnam. It shows the evidence of thousands of patients being carried onto the floor on a gurney, having the legs kicked into place, the blood stains soaking into the concrete. And over the course of that time period from 2003 to 2007, this hospital had an incredible success rate, a survival rate of nearly 95 to 98%. And for a community like ours, here in Montgomery County, here in the greater Washington area, with so many military service members and their families, they're able to relate and connect to this particular piece of concrete shipped to us from Iraq so many years ago in a very special way. It's an important testament, an important artifact for us to have, and we're glad people are able to see it here at the museum.
The National Museum of Health and Medicine is open daily from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., except for December 25th. For directions, exhibit information, and more, please go to medicalmuseum.mil.